Welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, the final Spurs News Podcast of 2022. I am Sam, joining me to discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now we're back, it's Matt.
Hey mate, you alright? It's been an interesting year, hasn't it?
It has been a bit bonkers, really. Yeah, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We're sort of... It's a weird season. The World Cup's done. It feels like that sort of happened and blinked and gone. But we're here. We're back. It's Tottenham again, and when it's Tottenham again, that apparently nowadays means going 2-0 down. I don't know. I can't quite wrap my head around it.
Yeah, that's funny, and you kind of encapsulated it with talking about the World Cup as well, because normally when players have a break, for example, when they have their break in the summer, you come back and things are different. I mean, unless you're Man City, where you just destroy teams, or even more now. I think Seb told me that Haaland's got 20 goals now, and it's not even January. It's insane.
He's walking it. Yeah.
Oh, it's insane. But anyway, you kind of think maybe things would be a bit different, but nope, exactly the same as before the last game of the World Cup.
I know.
Exactly the same. But second half FC.
It's weird, and I'm like trying to, like before I was trying to put it together in my head. I was like trying to work it out. I was thinking perhaps they got some sort of game plan that they want to play and it's just not quite working, but they're thinking get to the World Cup, stay, if we're top four still in the Champions League, that's tick, and then we go again. So I guess in my brain I was kind of like, after the World Cup, this is it now, this is going to be the real us. Yeah.
maybe Sam, maybe the game plan is that. Maybe the game plan is to lull them into a false sense of security in the first half, let them score a couple of goals, and then just go at them second half and hopefully beat them. Because we nearly did. We nearly did win at the weekend.
We
that
nearly
head
did.
hadn't crossed the crossbar.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I just don't know what to say.
It's not good for us.
I mean, I'm trying. I'm sort of. We in general on here are always very positive, and we in general on here always try and go, do you know what? This is where we are, but at least this, and we are fourth. But I kind of like looking at it, and I don't know about you. Like the back end of last season, in that run-in we had. We weren't just picking up wins. We were actually playing pretty decent football. It was good to watch. And I kind of looked at that and thought, this is where Conte is taking us. This is the way he wants us to play. And it's clicking here, and we're scoring goals for fun. Sonny got the golden boot. And I kind of looked at all of that and thought, taking that into the next season, that's going to be something special. I looked at the business we did in the transfer market and thought, brilliant, we're stronger, this is going to be really good. So I kind of went into this season with an expectation higher than possibly than it should have been. But I don't know about you, mate, but this is some pretty dire watching. I'm finding it very difficult to sit back and enjoy us play football this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I've struggled as well. Second half, I've loved the second half. I actually said to Seb, maybe we can see if we just get a season ticket for the second half next season.
Well,
I just turn off the second halves. But you're right, the first halves have been especially a struggle to watch, a real struggle. And it's frustrating. But then I think, I think back to only got to remind yourself a few years ago when we was playing under Mourinho, when we was all watching it on telly, and God, that was just another level of a struggle, wasn't it? And I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm not trying to go, that was bad, so we should accept this. And I know what you mean. At the end of last season, we were flying. It's weird. I mean, a key factor for me, I think, is Sonny, who just seems to have got that golden boot and just switched off.
Yeah,
it's just not the. It's not the. I don't know what it is. It's form. He's really strong. But then, do you know what? And I think you might have even mentioned this. Sonny does go through patches where he really struggles, doesn't he?
Yeah.
and he's just going through one of these patches.
This is the longest one. I think this is reminiscent of his first season at Tottenham. His first season at Tottenham, he really struggled. He picked up a few goals. Every now and again, you'd see glimpses, but just this like a confidence player where when he doesn't have that same belief, which he clearly did last season, nothing seems to work. Like last season, Sonny, there were certain points in a game where he'd pick the ball up and he'd switch it onto his foot, and you'd be like, that's going to curl into the top corner. And he did it. And other than a goalkeeper pulling off a worldie, it was a goal.
Yeah.
This season, I'm watching him pick the ball up and shift it, and I think to myself, well, that's just going to dribble on the floor, isn't it? You know, I have got zero confidence he's going to hit it. Clearly, that's him as well. You know, clearly he feels that way because, I mean, I watched the game with Brentford. He pulled one onto his left foot. Last season, he scores that. Last season, that is bottom corner. Pick that out. This season, no, it just dribbles along the floor. The keeper picks up easily. So, Sonny's just, it's a great example, really, mate. But you look at the players that are there, and he's bang out of form. But Kulusevski, of course, has been injured for a lot. Richarlison, unfortunately, has shown great energy for us, but has been injured quite a lot. Sonny himself, of course. Mm-hmm. The QT Romero thing, of course, is just a whole other debate. How do you feel about that? Because this show's just gonna work organically this week. How do you feel about the QT Romero thing?
What about him? Was he injured before, or was he not?
Well, I mean, if I run through the kind of bullet points, so Argentinian FA requested to all the English clubs that their players be rested for the final, I can't remember how many games, 5 games of the Premier League season, and that was denied by the Premier League and all the clubs. A number, if not all, of those players in the Argentina squad playing in England all then had an injury and missed those games that the FA requested they miss. Now, yeah, okay, so you can kind of look at that with a bit of a kind of side eye, like, alright. QT had what was called muscle fatigue injury. Now, I'm not going to get all sports sciencey, but this is in essence an injury which is like preemptive. So this is a sort of thing that a physio turn to the coach and say, hey, he's kind of redlining it. You know, if you play him, there is a chance he's going to pull something. So from a player's point of view with the World Cup coming up, you can kind of understand why you'd be really hesitant. And then also you can understand from a coach's point of view of, I can't play him because he's going to be second guessing himself. He isn't going to put that sprint in because he's panicking. So you can kind of rationalise all of that and the thinking behind all that. And then he goes to the World Cup. His first game is shocking at the World Cup, to the point he's hoiked off because of how poor he is. But then again, he hasn't played for weeks. He then does play back-to-back games, and the guy's immense. He plays a massive part in Argentina winning the World Cup. During that, he is also filmed, along with the rest of his first team squad, singing a song about, F the English, we remember the Falklands. He plays in England, lives in England, possibly not the brightest moment for him, and a number of players in that squad who live in England and play in England. But at the same time that's happened, it's done, he then puts out countless tweets about, how much he loves Argentina, being Argentina, and that's all fine. I mean, hell, he just won the World Cup for his country. The club have then put out what I described as a little PR video of him thanking Tottenham fans for all the messages of support and how he's dedicating his winner's medal to Tottenham fans and he'll be back soon. And I kind of looked at that and thought, well, that's a smart thing to do, considering everything else that's come out.
Yeah.
I said in our little group chat, for me, I'm a little bit pissed at the way he went about things. You watch Richarlison, Kane, who were all playing massive parts of the World Cup for their country. They fought to the last game for Spurs before the World Cup. They gave everything. Ben Davies for Wales, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity to go to a World Cup. That guy didn't pull out of anything. You know, that's dedication, and that's the kind of thing you want to see. Now, when it comes to, you know, what happens next, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, because I'm annoyed. I can be a little bit understanding of, you know, the World Cup and the opportunity that he had, but then at the same time, I'm kind of like, this is really aggravated me. He needs to come back and play at a level now. For me personally, he needs to come back, hit the ground running, be very, very good, and then all of this is forgotten for me. But if he comes back and there's some, I've won the World Cup, I'm done, you know, I'm going to go into cruise control. For me, regardless of how potentially great he is, I'm pissed enough that I'd say jog on. But that's just me. But what about you? I mean, that's like the bullet points. What do you think?
Yeah, look, it's difficult. Look, we're not neither of us are professional football players, but I get how much it means to play for your country.
Yeah.
Look, I'm like you say, Ben Davies, even to the last game, and Richarlison and Kane, they were still playing. It's really difficult. I get it. I do get it. Whether it's like, you know, from we're talking it as Spurs fans, and definitely not Argentina fans. So we're looking at it from that point of view. I mean, the singing thing, I just laugh at that. I think you know, it's what I mean. They started the war, didn't they? So I mean, I don't know why they got the ump. They started it. I mean,
they seem to think that they belong to them, but they even in their own song they call them the Falklands. So
no, of course, and yeah, I mean, it's, I'll that one. I mean, I'll just briefly talk about it. I think that we should. I mean, it's a lot closer to them than it's to us. But anyway, right, I'm not bothered about that. But I think it's his personality. I mean, it's just Mr. Shithousery, isn't he? That's who he is, right? Yeah. And that's his style. And it's brilliant when you're on his side.
Yeah.
So as Argentina fans, you're gonna love it, in you. But I think like you say, if he comes back and he's got to show that he's Mr. Tottenham now, you know, he's won that World Cup. Now he's back to being I'm a Tottenham player, you know, and he can be as shithousery as he likes to everyone else, and I'll laugh at it. But it's not comforting thinking. It's not a comfortable feeling being on the other end of it. But then that's him, isn't it? He's a wind-up merchant.
Do you think as well that we as fans, Argentina as well, we've had a little bit of a rough experience, like with Lo Celso, for example. He basically was injured for Tottenham for a whole season, but made every international for Argentina during that time.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's a little bit like, perhaps the fans are a little bit already pissed about that kind of situation?
I think Romero's going to get away with it a lot more, though, because he's about 1,000 times a player as Lo Celso is. Yeah. So that makes it. And it's like, you know, it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, it's very what's the word I'm looking for? You know, it's not very you know, it's just how people think, isn't it? Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no, you're probably right, and as I said, if he comes back and he's playing very, very well, then I know I just get parked and shelved and forgotten about.
Yeah, me too.
So you know, and I guess that's what the club are thinking as well. Yeah. You know, because they wouldn't have been happy with that situation. They look at social media every time they posted anything about him. Every other comment is, "Oh, so glad your injury cleared up for you to play at the World Cup." You know,
yeah.
And most of those are me. So yeah, no, like genuinely, I'm. He's a player that I like the signing. He's very aggressive, very in your face. As you put it, he has literally walked in and taken Lamella's shithouse crown.
And some.
And Lamella's almost looking on like, damn, I could have done more. So, yeah, I mean, he's not quite stood on Fabregas while smiling at him yet, or called Jack Wilshere a pussy. I mean, he needs to get to that point. I mean, for you to be fully the king of shithousery, you need to reach that level, I think. But, you know, he's got time.
Yeah.
He's got time on his deal with us. He's plenty of games against these sides to come where he can, stick one on someone. Get the impression, Saka probably wallop and then stamp on him oh no, were you on the floor? So we'll see. We'll see what comes of it. Did you? Well, actually, this is a perfect segue. Talking about the fact that every time anyone posts anything about him, you get the comments about being injured or feigning injury. You want to talk about any time Harry Kane gets posted about at the moment, because following our draw with Brentford, Kane once again, setting records. He not only has now scored against every team he's faced in the Premier League, which is a Premier League record, and the Premier League official Twitter account launched that. We're delighted for him. He's also, with that goal, means he's scored the most ever goals in the Premier League competition history on Boxing Day. He loves a Boxing Day fixture, does Harry Kane.
He does.
So, all that being said, there was a couple of posts on our Facebook page praising him. This is a Tottenham page for Tottenham fans. And I basically avoided the comments because I knew what they'd be like. However, you did take a look.
I took a delve in. Jesus. I just can't get my head around the short-sightedness of fans.
Yeah.
Look, he missed that penalty. Okay.
Yep.
Now, the people will focus on that, okay? Because we was all hoping it go in. They forgot completely. So many fans have forgotten he put the first one away, but he missed that one. But there are all kinds of things happening in the game. Maybe Pickford could have saved the goal. There's all different aspects of it. But this guy is getting all the hate. And do you know what? I just thought, mate, it was a painful experience. But I thought I'd get the top 5 worst comments.
Okay.
In this, so these are the combination of those two posts. So the one where he's now become the highest ever goal scorer, like you say, on Boxing Day with 10, beating Robbie Fowler, which is that guy was a goal machine, and now he's scored against every single Premier League team he's faced, which is insane, isn't it? Yep. Absolutely insane. Yep. Right. So so my fifth top comment. Okay, here we are. Not interested. He let England down. There we go. That's a lovely short-sighted view, isn't it?
Yeah. Not interested. He let England down.
There we go. Not interested. Not interested in those stats. Number 4.
There's two aspects of that I find.
Go on, mate. Go on. Let's dissect these.
One, not interested, and yet you felt the need to comment. That one always gets me. I'm walking through a shopping centre and there's a woman's lingerie store. It's not for me, but what I want to do is stand in there and shout at everyone that I'm not interested in buying anything.
Why is this shop here? I don't wear women's underwear.
Exactly. I don't need any of this except for that one occasional Tuesday. Yeah.
You won't go this.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, that's Samantha.
That's for a different show. That's for a different show.
It's a very, very different show. So the not interested thing. So straight away that always makes me roll my eyes. Whatever. Someone needs a blowjob. The second part of that is he let England down. Fuck off. No, he didn't.
Exactly.
How can you even say that? How the definition of letting someone down for me in a sporting context is not having the balls to step up to do it, right?
Yeah.
There are a couple of occasions in that World Cup where there was a player. Do you know what? Screw it. I'm going to say it.
Neymar's one of them.
There was a very real thing that Neymar for Brazil didn't want to take the first penalty in a shootout. He wanted to have the glory, so Neymar wouldn't step up to take the first. He wanted to take the 5th. That led to them missing the first few penalties, and Neymar never even got to take it. They were out.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. In his head, he probably thought, we're Brazil. We can all take penalties. It's great. We're going to be fine. I get the glory. But that is letting that's letting everybody down. He should have gone, give me the ball. First penalty, bang. We've got our first goal. I'm the man here. I'm the boy. I'm the top guy. Give me the ball. Harry Kane was up against Hugo Lloris, a goalkeeper he trains with constantly. If there is any goalkeeper on the planet who would be able to get in Harry's head at a penalty, it's Hugo Lloris. Not because Hugo's going to give him verbals, but because he'll probably just go, good luck, mate, which is enough to get him thinking? There's no one on the planet would have been in his head more. And not only did he step up the first time and bury it, he had the balls to then the second one to step up again. He hadn't let anybody down.
No.
Not anyone. Anyway, sorry.
Do you know what? Before I do number 4,
that was only the first comment.
That's all right, mate. Let's dissect them. But before I move on to number 4, you're saying about people complaining, saying they're not interested.
Yeah.
I love that the post you did recently of Beth England.
Oh my god!
Right.
Yeah.
And do you know what I love as well? It's like not only do people tell us they're not interested, but they put it in caps.
Yeah, capital letters.
They really have to tell us they're not interested.
Yeah. It was, my favourite one on that post. So Tottenham women have made a really big signing, and it's actually broken the British women's transfer record. 250,000. We've signed Beth England from Chelsea women.
Good player.
She'll be joining when the window opens. It's a great signing for Tottenham women. It really is a show of ambition, and the response. My favourite one was waste of money. I thought to myself, do you know what? I might have to comment on this one, just to be like, are you actually someone who's gone, she's not worth that, we should be spending it? Is this actually analysis here of women's football, or is this just you don't think a women's footballer could be worth £250,000? And then I've noticed a few people commented on it. It's just like, no, they should be saving the money for the men's game. This is ridiculous. This is just what was it? They're just writing off money here for tax. Oh my god, mate, what are you doing? This is ridiculous. Like the women's Euros clearly passed this guy by, let alone anything else. But yeah, it was like I looked at it, I thought that's great. That's a really good signing. I wrote the post and I put it up, and I thought I really hope the response to this is one of, oh, that's good. Because to me, I thought there's going to be a lot of people who'd be like, oh, it's great they're showing ambition. I wish the men's team would do the same. And I'd actually go, okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's an okay comment. That's that's a fair comment. But to show ambition in the women's game, you're spending 250 grand. To show it in the men's game, you're throwing 100 million at something.
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. So anyway, sorry, mate. Move on to 4.
Right, number 4 of the 5 most ridiculous comments made to 2 great Harry Kane posts. Okay, not any good under proper pressure. There we go. So it's not under proper pressure.
Under proper pressure. I love how everyone's an expert on that.
Yeah.
I love how it's kind of like, oh yeah, well that's pressure. This is like real pressure. This is proper pressure. Like, because at no point in Harry's career has he ever had to take a penalty when it's like proper pressure. No one remembers that time where we got given 2 penalties in the dying minutes against Liverpool, and one got missed, and then he had to step up again because we won another one, and he buried it
in front of the cop.
With everyone baying for blood because Lamella won the penalty for us. I'm doing air quotes here. Lamella won that penalty somehow by being a big shithouse. Oh no, look, he savagely booted me in the leg. Lamella, you put your leg there and called him a name, didn't you? Yeah, a little bit. But he had to do that, and it's like, but that's not proper pressure, because that's just the dying minutes of a massive Premier League game when you're fighting for points after you've just missed. That's not pressure, clearly. So this person's reflecting the fact that when it comes down to England, he doesn't do it in the big moments. Again, this is bullshit. You go back to the Euros, he had a penalty against Denmark. You telling me to take us through to that final isn't pressure? There's no pressure involved in that.
That's not proper pressure, Sam.
Yeah, I see. Proper pressure is in a World Cup when there's still 15 minutes to go plus stoppage time. It's a nonsense. It is an absolute nonsense. But unfortunately, everyone's got an opinion. But as I've said before, opinions are like assholes. We've all got them, and some are just full of shit. Continue, Matt. Number 3.
Okay.
The countdown music.
You ready?
Yeah.
Wow, he deserves a Blue Peter badge.
He is a Blue Peter badge.
So
Harry Kane has a gold Blue Peter badge, which they gave it to him for stuff he did. I can't remember, but when my daughter was little, I remember watching the episode when it happened.
Yeah, but do you think like so these two posts were him scoring against all 32 Premier League teams he's played, scoring against every single one. You know, your Man United, Chelsea's, Liverpool's, these big clubs.
He's literally done, you can only score against what's in front of you, and he's done that to everybody.
Every single team, and he's beaten Robbie Fowler to score the most amount of goals on Boxing Day. Yeah. And it's all he deserves for that is a Blue Peter badge.
Yeah, no recognition, no well done. He just deserves some trivial joke. The thing is kind of funny as well. Do you think that people have kind of forgotten what life was like before Harry Kane? Yeah. Do you think that we have a fan base of people who seem to think that every club has a striker come through the academy that is world class? Yeah, because absolutely. I remember the season he broke into the first team, like properly. The season where he started scoring goals in the Europa League to the point that dickhead Sherwood had no choice but to actually put him on the pitch. And he was scoring like fun, and we were making all those jokes about the Harry Kane, hurricane sort of things. And we were all just joking around because no one thought it was going to last. We were so poor, and we were all just like, here comes this kid, he's scoring goals. This won't last. Pochettino took over and he scored that free kick against Villa, and it was all banter. It was all like over the top, kind of like, oh well, we're never gonna lose. And then all of a sudden it was like, he keeps bloody scoring. Hang on a minute, this is like semi-serious now. He's obviously, he's done it again. There's two more. He's actually pretty good. God, this kid just scored a header against Arsenal. That was on another level. He's just scored a volley. He's just scored from 35 yards against Chelsea. It suddenly became, holy crap, we've got something here which is unbelievable. And I do think that people are just spoiled. They've just not, they've settled into this. I mean, I don't know any other strikers of his ability that can pass the way he does, the way he tracks back, chases people down. I genuinely think that only once he's playing at another club will Tottenham fans, a lot of Tottenham fans, I'm not saying all, a lot of Tottenham fans who are on our page, it would seem, will finally realise just how bloody good he is.
Yeah. Do you know a lot of, I agree with you that is a big part of it, and it's just that short-sightedness that fans have. And before I give you my top two, a good example of the short-sightedness is that I think about on the same day our page posted, obviously you yourself posted, but our page posted about Kulusevski winning Swedish Player of the Year. And you look at those comments, and honestly, the most offensive thing you can find is someone calling him Ginger. I'll give you some quotes from it. Well deserved, Kulu my man, outstanding player, what a player. Just honestly, you can't see anything that's even slightly detrimental apart from trying to make a comment about his hair colour. But I think even that was meant in like in a sort of a kindness, Yeah. And it's unreal. Like, no, don't get me wrong. Like Kulusevski, I love him. I love the guy. But how can you post something like? How can you post two things that they're really? I mean, him getting Player of the Year. Yeah. It's just a stat. It's
Swedish Player of the Year.
Yeah, Swedish player.
It's just another stat praising our players.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's unreal, the difference in comments. Anyway, right, the top two, I couldn't decide which one to put second, which one to put first.
All right, go on and
because they're both ridiculous. Both. Right, let's go with number two, okay? That's the last bit you got to focus on that makes me laugh at this comment, right, okay?
Go for it.
Couldn't score when it mattered, right? Ready? Mm-hmm. Shit, overrated record breaker. He's a shit, overrated record breaker. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that feels very much like an oxymoron.
Yeah, well, I think drop the oxy and that's the commenter. I mean, that's good, and that's kind of. This brings me back to that. This person is one of those people that buys into the trophy narrative of you're only good if you've won trophies. Even though you're an individual player, you're only good if the team you've played for have won trophies. And I apologise if people listening have heard me talk about this before, and I know that possibly you're all ready to mouth the words with me. But the biggest example of that being bullshit I can give is the Manchester United player called Wes Brown. Wes Brown was a jobbing defender at Manchester United who came through their academy. Now, if he came through the academy at any other side in the Premier League, he wouldn't have made it. He wouldn't have made it to the first team of a Premier League side. He played, on average, anywhere between 10 to 15 games a season, all from the bench, during his time there. He also had won the Champions League twice, the Premier League 5 times, the FA Cup 4 times, the League Cup twice. So, by the rationale of trophies make players great, why is it when people are putting together their greatest ever Premier League team, Wes Brown isn't like front and centre?
Yeah, completely.
Because there's literally, even if you looked at the Premier League right now, you could pick 20 central defenders easily that are better than Wes Brown. Wes Brown himself could sit there and probably pick 30 because he's got a little bit more about him and he knows a little bit more what to look for. It's not, and this isn't an attack on Wes Brown, please don't think that it is. It's just, he is the example that comes to my mind of when you play in a successful team, you can become trophy laden. And that trophy ladenness doesn't make you the world's greatest defender, the world's greatest player. It just means you played in a bloody good team.
Yeah, of course.
Now, Harry Kane, unfortunately, hasn't played in a team that has won a lot of trophies. He's played in some good sides at Tottenham, but not a trophy-laden one. And we as a club are just not that. Unfortunately, it just isn't us. But to say that that means that he isn't as good is horseshit. It is so stupid. Would you say, like, if Harry Kane had an extra... we won the League Cup one of the times we were in the final. A couple of League Cup winners' medals, would people go, oh, bloody hell, Kane's good, you know, he's got those couple of winners' medals? No, they'd say, oh, it's only the League Cup. If he had the FA Cup winners' medal, oh, it's only that. Oh, he's only won the league once, has he? Oh, you know. People are always going to be derisory for whatever reason they will. And when Kane's retired and years go by, people will go, God, he was good. He was brilliant. Oh, he was magic, wasn't he? And I'll listen to that and I'll think, you assholes. But it's what happened. I remember as a kid people running Alan Shearer down. And then now he's retired. He's the god of all strikers to have ever graced a football pitch, according to most. But when he played for England and was England captain, he used to get slagged right off.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, what was your number one?
My number one, yeah. Okay, you ready for this one?
Bring it.
I love this one. Here we go. Oh, good. The idiots will be comparing him to Jimmy Greaves next.
The idiots will be comparing him to Jimmy Greaves next.
Now, bearing in mind, he's only 4 goals behind Jimmy Greaves.
Is that... I mean, is that actually a joke, though?
No, it's you read it. It's not a joke. There's no laughing emoji at the end or anything. That's someone's genuine opinion.
Because let's analyse that one then. So let's analyse the fact that Jimmy Greaves, phenomenal striker. Like, my dad talks about him like he was on another level to mankind. Phenomenal striker. Everything I've ever watched, everything I ever seen, this guy's movement and everything, it was ahead of its game. And yet, when it came to the 66 World Cup, he was dropped because he didn't make up the best part of the team to go on and win it. So you're talking about, is he comparable to a guy who was dropped? Also comparable to a guy that he is actually only a few goals away from equaling the record. In a different era of football, a very different era of football, where teams don't necessarily smash other teams 13-0 and you get 6 of the goals yourself as the striker. I'm... Yeah, that one's just so dumb, I don't even think we need to talk about it. That's just... I don't know... Like,
you just
I
look at it,
genuinely don't know where to go with that. I mean, I do see comments. I used to enjoy the the kind of interaction part of what we did. And it was kind of one of the main reasons why I really enjoyed, doing the page and everything. Now, I don't know whether it's just because the Pochettino, the few years under Pochettino where we were just flying high a lot of the time, I got into a kind of false sense of security of feeling quite good, or the natural feeling around the club being quite good. It is now a level of toxicity where even when we win, it's not a nice place to be. Like, there isn't an aspect of Tottenham social media that I enjoy anymore, which is really sad. Like the Twitter account, I am literally thinking about giving it up. It is so toxic on there now, and thanks to the wonderful Elon Musk, the level of racism and stuff that's just allowed on that platform again is just eye-wateringly horrible.
Can I just say, Sam, though, there was a reason. Yesterday was probably the reason why I'm glad I stuck with Twitter as long as I have. Did you see the exchange between Greta Thunberg and Andrew Tate?
Yeah,
legendary.
I did catch that. Yeah,
he's just like gone complete. Like, because I didn't understand what ratioed meant until recently, but that guy has been ratioed to another level.
He has. He's an odd bugger. I mean, there's so many of them around, but he's another one. I don't know. I mean, each to their own. But but back to it. It's just the level of toxicity. The Facebook page. No one rarely see me in the comments now. I mean, I posted Merry Christmas, and the first reply was "fuck off."
Really?
Yeah, the first reply was "fuck off."
Was that on the Facebook page?
Yeah, the second. Yeah, I cleared them, and the second reply was, "Go sign some players. I don't give a fuck about Christmas." One, we're a fan-run page. Like, what influence do you think we've got?
Yeah.
And like two, just like, are you really that? Christmas Day. This is like 11 a.m. on Christmas Day. You're on Facebook for whatever reason, by the way, whether you're posting a picture of kids opening presents, perhaps, and you've seen our post come up, rather than just hitting like, "Oh, Merry Christmas, Tottenham fans," or something, or "Merry Christmas, my fellow Tottenham fans. You're trying to be a bit jovial, let's hope Santa brings us some wins, ha ha ha." But no, you're that angry. You're that kind of wound up that you think that that's the way to go.
I've said this before, Sam, and I might be completely wide the mark here, and I know it's not always the case. I do understand that, but I think a lot of people, I'd suggest a lot of blokes. I mean, mostly blokes that watch, into football. They kind of rely on their club to give them their happiness.
Yeah,
so
worryingly.
Yeah, but I think it's true. I see it because I go to a lot of games, and you can see like how people are after us when we lost and stuff. So that I'm not like most people. There's things are pretty shit at the moment, right? With everything, with the cost of living crisis. I'm not any, but I'm struggling like most people are with everything. So I get it. Like life's shit at the moment, and I guess when you've got an outlet, when you've got something that's escape, like supporting your club, or being a Spurs supporter, it's escapism, and in a funny kind of way, I see it with my boy, with Seb, because I don't think he's not got anything tough. I mean, when you're a kid, you've got hardly anything tough going on in your life. It's just what you're gonna have for dinner and what time you're gonna go to bed. That's what you got to worry about. But he relies on it a lot. You can see, and then like when we were struck in the first half of the game at the weekend against Brentford. You could see like, I've had enough now. I've had enough football. I don't want to support Spurs anymore. And then when we come back to score those 2 goals, he's buzzing, and it's like football's the most amazing thing in the world.
Yeah.
So, and I think people rely on it. So when you stick the telly on, or you go to the game and we're playing like we are in the first half and we're struggling to a 2-2 draw, for Christ's sake, I can't even. This isn't even. Getting me. I can't even use this as my escapism, and I think people are then channeling their anger.
That's why they're then angry.
Yeah, and then you look at the league, and for frick's sake, Arsenal have won again. They're top of the league, and then all these teams below us, Chelsea have won, Man United have won. They're all catching us up. This is and fast forward 10 games. If we win our next 10 games, and Arsenal, struggle, Man City and Haaland scores another 20 goals in the next 10 games, and Arsenal are third or fourth, and we're above them maybe. You don't know. Suddenly, you don't get it. Because the escapism is brilliant. I can escape to this and I can escape to Spurs. But when we're playing badly or struggling and Arsenal are doing well, I think it's that the anger everyone has with everything else going on. They just channel it through this, and our page and I guess all other Spurs pages probably just get the brunt of it. Because whereas
it is the brunt of it, and it is pretty hostile. I mean, like. I shared in our chat. I mean, I used to just engage a lot, and what I tend to do now is sort of write out what I'd like to reply and then delete it and walk away.
Yeah.
I mean, someone wrote something the other day, and my reply was going to be, "The kids are with their mother this Christmas, are they?" Because it's just like the anger is coming from somewhere, and I just can't believe it's possibly coming from a post about. Our fixtures coming up,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, and the whole idea that it's just everything's a struggle, everything's a fight, and you do kind of question it. It's kind of like, why as a fan am I kind of doing it? I mean, you jokingly said to me and Dan yesterday about, well, I really hope we're making a lot of money out of this page. It's like, no, we don't make naff all. I think in the whole time we've had this page, which is longer than I probably want to think about, I think we've made a few £100. And those are the times that we've done stuff and promoted stuff, and then we kind of got sick of it anyway because the companies were a pain in the ass to deal with. We've made more out of the podcast, actually, thanks to the wonderful people at manscaped.com. But yeah, I just don't. It's so disproportionate, isn't it, to what we're talking about? Why people seem to get so angry, like really angry, and it's like those two, like you say, the two posts that I've we talked about, the Harry Kane ones. They're Spurs fans replying to this. I know.
Like you should be like, wow, we've got one of our own. It's broken 2 more records. This is incredible, but instead. Spurs fans hate. I don't doesn't make any sense, does it?
In the summer, he's got 1 year left on his deal, and there is a very, very real possibility that he's going to leave this summer. Very real. I mean, very real, because I think he and the club are kind of still not simpatico following what happened before. And I think with 1 year left on his deal, Daniel Levy is not the kind of person who's going to let him leave for free the following year. Man United want him. That's the rumour mill. They want a proper striker. Ronaldo's left. That's who they want. But they know there's no chance in January.
Yeah.
The only issue Man United have got is whether their new owners are in place in time. But if their new owners are, making that signing a really good start for any new owners. So that appears to be the one that's on the bubble. You're quite right about how much things can change. Right now, the feeling around the club is Conte's going, Kane's going, Sonny is a shadow of himself. Looks like perhaps he needs to go to somewhere to restart his career. And you kind of look at all of it and you think, maybe it is kind of, we as fans need to accept this is not going to work for us and we need to tear it up and start again, which is so painful. Like, it is so painful.
I think with me, I mean, like, Harry Kane's been with us for a number of years, and we've been doing this podcast for a number of years. Not as long as Harry Kane's been at Spurs, but we've been doing it for a while. So we've had plenty of conversations about Harry Kane, where we are with him over the years, how we feel about if he's going to go, stay, whatever. I'm at the place now. Genuinely, I'm at the place, right, and I've been at this place for a while, where I would love now to see him run down his contract at Spurs, having broken all records, and just go and win some trophies, mate. Go and sign for Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or a team that guarantees you trophies.
The thing is,
PSG.
I think he wants to stay in England because I think he is after Shearer's record.
Well, go sign for Man City then. Go sign for Man City. Partner Haaland up there. I just want him to go and win some trophies. I want him to retire with trophies, and he's not going to get them at Spurs. As much as I'd love him to, we'd all love him to. I mean, unless we have an amazing January transfer window, and suddenly just win every game until May, June. I can't see us doing anything this year either, and it just seems to be this cycle that goes around year after year. So I don't think he's going to win anything with us.
What do you think to the Conte situation now? It is no shock to me that Conte has put out to the press that he's closer to leaving than he is staying. That's typical Conte around the transfer window. That doesn't surprise me at all. What's your opinion? Because I have to be completely honest. I kind of flip flop on this, and what I mean by that is I quite still have that. I'm very proud that he's our manager. I think he is very tactically astute. I think his training methods, etc., are exemplary. I think he's modern. I think he is considered rightly an elite manager. And I think if he is someone who is backed, as proven by every club who have backed him, he will win things. The one thing you'll remember us talking about when we appointed him is there's a joy to that, but then there's a kind of, that will mean that we have to change. Like, we as a club will have to change, because this relationship, like Conte and Levy, feels like, it's like a fight waiting to happen. It's like, and I think me and you talked about it like today. It was like really excited, but it just feels like that's never gonna work. Like, that's such a bad combination. Like Paratici sat between them, like, please don't fight. Now when it kind of comes down to this window, and it feels like we say this a lot, but it's kind of like last January window. The club made two signings that improved us immeasurably, and we went on a run off the back of Kulusevski and Bentancur's energy into the team. For me, from a fan's point of view, looking at that, I find it incredibly difficult to imagine that as owners of the club, you cannot see that yourself. You must see that by spending that money doing those deals, you enabled us to get top four. That was the difference maker. Hell, pundits everywhere are screaming it, what the difference maker was. I got friends who were gooners who were just like, yeah, when you made those signings, that was the difference, and they're right. Now, fast forward to where we are now, we are struggling. But we're not struggling scoring goals. We're struggling not conceding them. Which, for a Conte team, he must be ready to, jump. I mean, he must be losing his damn mind. I'd say tear his hair out, but I think he spent a lot of money to have that put back in. And he said in a press conference, oh yeah, I don't need a central defender. And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, well, you're lying, aren't you? Sorry, I'm choking on that lie. But do you see my point of view on that? Is kind of like, if Conte is now towing the company line in press conferences, like, oh yeah, I don't need a centre back. What's the other quote he came up with? The club have made it clear to me their vision on who they're going to sign. And it's going to be a profile of player, to take the club forward into the future and what we can afford, not the players I would choose. He's basically saying he wants to sign someone ready-made, at the top of their game, at the peak of their form, 28, 29 years old, pay them the top money, and they'll come in, instantly improve the whole level of the club. And he's saying, yeah, Tottenham aren't doing that. That's not what's going to happen. He's also then said that Oliver Skip's replaceable, which, makes me very Conte out. by the way. That's whoa. That's
Don't
very
go there.
kind of. Yeah, I'm not even going to entertain that. I'm just going to treat that as journalists stirring shit up. I can't face that. That's going to hurt me.
But talking about journalists stirring shit up, there's got to be an element of Conte not saying that he needs a centre back, because if he says he needs one, then suddenly put £15 million on every centre back target.
I think there's an aspect as well of he doesn't think he'll get it. He has an idea of the level of centre back he needs. Like if you look at you look at the players that we were linked with, Bastoni and the Croatian lad who plays in Germany, who was phenomenal at the World Cup, Vardiol, I think. Those are the two players that Conte wants, and they're 80 to 100 million players, both of them. They are massive signings. He knows the club aren't going to do that for him in January. He probably knows he ain't going to do it for him in the summer as well, but he ain't getting that in January, definitely. With that being the case, why would he want to destroy the confidence of the centre backs he does have on the on the script by saying, I need a new one because look at the crap I'm working with. But yeah, it doesn't get any easier. I mean, like I said, all of this. What's your opinion with Conte? I mean, this isn't a Conte in, Conte out debate. That's a nonsense. But I'm just kind of like, where are you with him at the moment?
It's a strange one. When we first got him at the club, I remember saying to you that, God, this guy, we only have to make signings. This guy's going to turn all our players world class, and I feel like he has improved players.
Yeah.
But not. But then I guess if you look at Chelsea or Inter Milan, he improves players, but he also gets big signings in.
He does.
So there's that. He complements both with each other. Whereas with us, that's not the case.
No.
I wonder sometimes. I don't know if you think this. Honestly, look, Sam, I'm the least spiritual, kind of superstitious kind of person you'll meet. There's got to be something with our club, honestly. Like it doesn't. It seems like whatever you do, or maybe it's just Levy. I don't know. But we have made big signings, right? It's not like we've spent a lot of money on players, and yet it just never seems to work. It's like why? It's like this missing magical thing that always seems to work at Chelsea or the bigger clubs, but never seems to work with us. No matter what manager you throw in, what players are bought,
I honestly believe, right? This is an honest belief that everywhere I've ever worked, the tone of the workplace is set by the people at the top. And what I mean by that is, like, I've worked in places where the boss is lazy. He shows up late every day, and you look around, the staff are lazy. The staff are a mirror of that, if that makes sense. And I've worked in places where the boss arrives an hour earlier than everybody else. He leaves an hour later than everyone else, and everyone else is dedicated. They're kind of pulling their weight, and it's not because they're being demanded or anything like that. It's because that's the kind of the work ethic that's been kind of brought in and set down.
Yeah.
I think when you look at the players, when coaches and stuff are there, you see that Jose, with their fitness, basically trusted them to be grown-ups and to stay fit and would just work with them tactically game to game. Didn't work. The modern player needs to be drilled. That's just the way it is. And so you could see the fitness levels of the players and everything just slipping away. It was atrocious. Conte, you can see, is in their faces with that. He's got them drilled. He's got them playing into his system and stuff. But the way Conte works is that I have my system, my way of playing. You will fit into that. I'm not going to adjust my way because my way works. So you will fit into it, and if you don't, I'll replace you. So from the club point of view, you've got two choices. You either say to him, no, Antonio, that's not how we work here. And therefore Antonio says, well, good luck, shake hands, I'll leave, because he is that kind of guy. He's done it before, he'll do it again. Or you buy into it. Now, when you appoint that guy, you knew that. There's no way no one appoints Antonio Conte not knowing it. So you look at the right wing back situation at the club. Jed Spence signed by Paratici, the scouting department, very happy with him, not someone that Conte picked out. Left wing back, Conte was impressed with Sessegnon but said he wasn't good enough to be his first choice. Got him Perisic, delighted with that, over the moon with that. But on the right side, he had a list of players he wanted, the club never even went for, because they said, well, Doherty, Emerson Royale, neither want to leave the club. We've got no offers for them, you need to make the best of this. And we've seen this season just what the best of that looks like.
Yeah.
It's not good.
No.
It's not good.
18 million. How do we pay 18 million for Emerson Royale? I can't how?
It's still to a level of banter that is unknown. But yeah, so it's frustrating. So for me, the issue at the club is actually the owners not caring about winning. And what I mean by that is Roman Abramovich at Chelsea cared about winning things. So you could be playing great football, you could be playing crap football, whatever it is going on, but you wanted to win things. And if you didn't, he'd sack you and bring someone else in. And he'd say to that person, right, is this squad good enough? No? Right, tell me what you need. I'll go and buy it. Now, don't get me wrong, he was burning through the wealth of an entire nation. And I know the clubs I'm talking about, you can point that to. But there has to be the person at the top wanting to win things. Man United's another good example. Ferguson ran that club. He ran it, and that bloke was hungry to win things constantly. He would rebuild, reinvent that club over and over. Now, when he went, the Glazers are in charge. The people who are in the management, everything like that, none of them had that same drive to win things. They were making good money.
Yeah.
And because of that, Man United have gone from a club that every season would pick up a trophy to now being trophyless in so many years. They've picked up 2, and it's like it's not them anymore. It's not their identity. They've slipped into where we are, which is we've got a great history, but we just don't win things. And I genuinely believe it comes from Enoch. It comes from Daniel Levy. You can say I want to win things a million times. You have to act on it. Actions speak louder than words. You have to actually push to get there. In his head, he possibly thinks, oh, but I have. But it is impossible to believe that the amount of players that have come and gone under his tenure, the amount of coaches, managers that have come and gone under his tenure, and yet we still have the same problems at the club. It has to be something within it. It has to be something larger than how they're coached or anything like that. It has to be a cultural thing at the club that it is not about winning. It is about showing up, giving it your all. Ooh, I gave 100%. Oh, good boy. There has to be a change in that. There has to be a nuclear-like change of doing it. Now, unfortunately, in my opinion, that will never happen because Daniel Levy, Enoch, the owners of this club, are making great money. They've just got that permission to build that housing estate. That they are Tottenham Hotspur PLC is absolutely raking it in and will continue to do so. The value of the whole club every passing month goes up because of every passing month the stadium debt's being paid down by events and stuff. Now the pandemic's gone, that beautiful plan they had is working. They put on a boxing match, boom, that's the whole stadium interest payments and everything done for another however long. The club make over $1 million in revenue every time something's there just from drink sales and stuff. The stadium is phenomenal and should allow the football club to really kick on, but we're not seeing it, not yet. I mean, the Kulusevski, Bentancur signings, Kulusevski was an initial loan, Bentancur was 18 million, I think. They were phenomenal, really helped us, really kicked us on, but they are not investment signings of a level where you look at it and go, wow, we mean business. Yeah. They were important, and I'd love to see us do the same again, but you want to talk about this club meaning business, This club goes and signs Gvardiol, 80 million. They go to Leipzig and just say, I know you don't want to let him go in January, but we're willing to pay this. Here's a guy called Davinson Sanchez you can have as well. You know, by the way, ignore Emerson Royale. He's coming with him, but you want him, trust me. He's a freebie. but you see what I mean? Like, be serious. Go and act like a big club.
Yeah.
I mean, the window's not opened yet. Liverpool have announced the signing. Chelsea have announced 2. Man United are going to announce 1 today. Man City have just said we don't need to sign anyone, and bastards, they're right. Arsenal are close to a deal for a striker because they're trying to strengthen from a position of strength, which is what you should do. It's a very, very frustrating time.
And it's a better explanation, Sam, than my Mystical Forces explanation anyway, so I appreciate that.
To be honest with you, the Mystical Forces thing could just as be accurate. Perhaps the stadium's on some sort of weird ley line. But no, genuinely, it feels like that has to be it. And it feels like when people are talking about Levy out and stuff like that, it's less about, oh, they've done nothing for the club, because that's a lie. They've done loads for this club. But it's more just a case of we are stuck in a kind of pattern that is just repeating itself. And if changing coaches constantly doesn't break the pattern, if buying players, changing the squad doesn't break the pattern, then something has to.
Yeah.
What can that be? And that's kind of where I am at the moment mentally.
Yeah,
anyway, there we go. That is the Spurs news part, the final one of 2022. Just before we sign off, I did promise everyone I'd do this. Do you remember we made predictions at the start of the season?
Okay.
And I said I'd read them out at the midway point or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So at the start of the season, everyone involved in Spurs news, including Stefan, made a prediction of where we would finish in the league and who would be our club top goal scorer. So Stefan, who by the way has welcomed his first child, his daughter, into the world, called Tiana.
Oh.
So welcome to the world, and she is already a Spurs fan thanks to various gifts from me. Stefan predicted 3rd in the league and Harry Kane our club top goal scorer. That's still possible, I think.
Yep.
Dan said the same. Laura said 3rd in the league, but Sonny the top goal scorer.
It's not looking good.
Do you remember what you said?
No, go on, hit me.
Me and you said exactly the same.
Okay.
We both went with Kane being the top goal scorer for us this season.
Yep.
We both said we'd finish 2nd. Yeah.
You never know.
Shit needs to improve.
Shit needs to change.
Yeah, shit needs to improve, because I want to finish the season 2nd to Man City. All right. I've given up on the title race. I want to finish the season 2nd to Man City.
Yep.
I want to look at Erling Haaland and go, wow, I never thought I'd see a striker score 50 league goals in their debut season.
What do you mean? I thought it was 50 league goals before March. I thought you was going to say then. A bit more of his list.
And 10 of them against Arsenal in that one game where they destroyed their title hope.
Please,
mate, please. Yeah, I just like I saw someone tweet the other day, our only hope of Arsenal not winning the league title this season is one of these two men severely upping their game, and it was a picture of Haaland and a picture of Putin. Oh my god.
I'll take Haaland, thanks very much.
Yeah, please. Yes, please. Yeah, I don't much fancy being conscripted. I've got a bag leg and a hip. My hip, in the cold, it hurts. Anyway, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody for listening throughout 2022. We've had as much fun as one possibly can have when we're talking about Tottenham on a regular basis. The club continue to frustrate and excite in equal measure. Genuinely do feel like I should just give up on watching first halves. But yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Thank you as well for all the lovely feedback of the Christmas special. That was a good laugh to do as always. We will be back very soon to talk more things all Tottenham. Until then, you all take care.
Take care, mate.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.